my love. I'll give you 30 seconds.
Coming, Madam Sin.
Thank you very much. It was said that the jury in the Cynthia Payne trial voted 9 not guilty, 2 guilty, and 1 wanted to be bound over. So, did you get your Valentine's card today? Yeah. My wife got one. But I didn't send it. But she thinks I did. Now, do I own up and hope she'll give me some idea of who did send it? Or shall I just let it gnaw away at my insides for the rest of my life? Valentine's cards are relatively new. The first one was posted in the reign of Queen Victoria by a young poet to his fiancée in Guildford. And it finally arrived on Tuesday. Valentine's Day is, of course, very romantic, which is probably why Mark Thatcher decided to get married today. It all seemed to go very well, didn't it? Apparently, Mark wanted the honeymoon to be a surprise, so his wife let him drive. Actually, they'll be in the honeymoon suite now. So, if you're watching the programme, Mark, why? But what puzzles me is that if Valentine's Day is so romantic, why is the heart used as a symbol of love? I mean, it's just a big lump of yucky muscle. The big veins sticking out of it. I mean, let's face it, if you sent a real heart to your girlfriend, she'd have a screaming fit. Oh, look, Mom. Brian's bought me a present. For Valentine's Day. Oh! It's a heart! And there's an arrow through it! I told him not to drink that bloody strongbow! Did you see you can get boxer shorts now with hearts on them? Gives a whole new meaning to, well, his heart's in the right place. Why heart, though? Why heart? I mean, why not groin? More applicable, isn't it? Think of all the fun you'd have changing the songs. Cilla Black singing, anyone who had a groin? Bonnie Tyler with, it's a groin ache. Elvis Presley would have a wooden one. How about the sayings? He's all groin. Scared? Ooh, me groin was in my mouth. Ah, dear. What is interesting on Valentine's Day is to read all the messages lovers write to each other in newspapers like The Times and The Guardian. Valentine's Day humorous messages. Very strange. Millions of people see these, and yet only 2 people can possibly get the joke. It's a bit like watching Terry and June, isn't it? Gone are the liberal, permissive 60s, you know, when anything went. In the 80s, there's a whole new morality. Be back by 10 o'clock. Don't take drugs. Don't go jumping into bed with the first person you meet. Oh, and before you leave the house, could I have some pocket money, Mom? Wait. right, I can wait. There's the ritual of making yourself attractive. Men go through the agony of getting fit by jogging before work, bodybuilding in the lunch hour, a 2-hour swim on the way home. They go out for the evening, and sure enough, they see the partners of their dreams. They walk over, introduce themselves, and fall asleep because they're absolutely knackered. Meanwhile, some stick insect with halitosis moves in and scores. Women don't fare much better. The problem is all women are light eaters. When it's light, they eat. That's why they're always dieting. And because they're dieting, everyone else has got a diet. You're just about to slam a pork pie into your mouth and they go, that's 3.5 million calories, you know. You've got to walk 4 marathons to work that out. Then they get out their lunch, which is a slimming biscuit made out of so many E additives, even a laboratory rat would spit it out. You see the same woman 3 months later and they put on 2 stone. And when you're challenging about it, they say, oh, it's me glands. It's an overactive thyroid. Or the overactive mouth, that's it. Has courting changed as well as the morality? Well, couples still go to dances and discos where conversation is impossible. Not because of the noise, it's just that no one dances on their feet anymore. They stand on their heads and pogo round the dance. And they sit on the backsides and try and drill themselves into the basement. What a waste of energy. In my day, you'd have 12 pints of lager, lay back and let the room spin round for you. Still, they know it's true love when they wake up in the morning and can remember each other's names. Then they exchange those eternal tokens of love, the alimony contracts and the blood test certificates. And finally, he has to be introduced to her mother and father. Her mother's new husband, his ex-wife and her toy boy. Her father, his second wife, her first husband and his toy boy. And we're back to the boyfriend again. Then there's all the ups and downs of setting up home together. Should they buy a charming, rundown bijou cottage? Do it up in a scatterbrained, happy-go-lucky amateur way, or should they forget the builders? Then, of course, the big question, should they get married? Because living in sin means all sorts of different classifications are applied to the relationship. For instance, you don't live in a house, you live in a love nest. You don't have a baby, you have a love child. Your partner's called a live-in lover. What's the alternative? A part-time lover? Someone who pops in on Tuesdays and Thursdays and says, can I bonk you now, sir? Of course, if they do decide to get married, marriage means weddings, and how they don't lead to divorce is beyond me. I mean, I've been to some beauties. I was an usher at a wedding once, and it was so chaotic, nobody knew where the reception was. Which was true, and I did it, you know. So I went into the car park, and I thought, right, I'll wait for someone to leave, and I'll follow them. See? So this bloke left, and I followed him behind him. Now, nobody else knew where to go, and they thought, there's the usher. He'll know where it is. So we all went out to the car park together. I didn't notice. About half a mile down the road, I'm following this bloke, and suddenly he turns left into his drive. So I'm driving along very slowly, waiting for somebody to overtake me to lead me to the wedding. So we're about 3 or 4 miles an hour. We finally get down to a big island outside of Birmingham called Stonebridge Island. You see, I got to the island, I thought, what I'll do is I'll nip round the island and follow somebody else who's going to the wedding. So I got to the end of the island just to catch the last car in the convoy coming onto the island. We were going round for about 3 hours. Eventually, they had to call the AA. Anyway, what news have we had in the last 7 days? Headline of the week was HMS Junkie. 8 Royal Navy ships were involved with drug parties on the ocean waves. How is this affecting life at sea?
More cocoa, sir?
Iceberg! Stop all engines! Guns, 30 degrees starboard! Give me one of those, Perkins.
What are these, sir?
Yes, one of those. Be quick about it. It's an emergency.
In the day, baby, it's not only the seas that get high.
Further news of today's big wedding. Confusion arose when Mark Thatcher's father-in-law, a used car salesman, gave away his 20-year-old daughter. She's actually 25, but he turned the figure back on her birth certificate. As a result of getting married, Mark's wife has acquired a new name. But what's in a name? Stephen Hugh explains.
When Diane Bergdorf takes the name Thatcher, she is, of course, taking the name of an Old English profession. But what she and the manufacturers of zircon may not realise is that the verb to thatch actually comes from an Anglo-Saxon word which literally means to cover up.
Neil Kinnock can take little comfort, however. The Labour leader is, of course, a Welshman, and Conservatives interested in Labour's spending plans should note that the name is probably a corruption of the Welsh word Kinnock, which means enemy and debtor.
But the Alliance don't escape these quirks of history. What does the name Steel conjure up to you?
Strength, fortitude, iron, resolve.
Which sounds a lot better than...
David covering for a sore finger.
Which is what it means in Scottish.
What about genial Irishman Terry Wogan?
His name is Welsh, and it means he who scowls. And as for Geoffrey Howe, he is simply
a hillock.
But back to Thatcher. It's very difficult to imagine the Prime Minister's ancestors crawling around roofs with bits of straw. Presumably, the family stopped thatching when roof tiles were invented, and market forces pushed the Thatchers into retraining schemes. One of Kenneth Baker's ancestors was a bread and cake maker. One of Terry Butcher's ancestors must have been a butcher.
One of Edward Heath's ancestors was a large area of open scrubland. One of James Last's ancestors was a shoe mould, and one of Robert Maxwell's ancestors was a jar of coffee.
And of course, one of Jasper Carrott's ancestors... So there we have it. Geoffrey Archer's ancestors made bows, Cyril Fletcher's ancestors made arrows, Jeremy Beadle's ancestors
made people sick. Yes, but all these occupations are from medieval times. So in 400 years' time, will people be called, for example, Veronica VDU operator?
At the moment, the most common name is Smith. In the future, perhaps the country's most common name might be...
David Redundant.
Thank you, Stephen Hugh. A remarkable story from Oxford. Oxford City Council were dissuaded from renaming Valentine's Day Condom Day. A local resident said it was a day for cards, not letters. We can't let this week go by without a quick look at Crufts. Winning the best dog at Crufts is the canine equivalent of winning Miss World with all the perks that go with it.
Although it may have been a dog's life on the catwalk, success at Crufts will usually lead on to greater things. Soon, top agents will be on the dog and bone to the lucky winners. Some dogs will go on to cock a snoot, if not a leg, at their sporting rivals. While others will get a leg up into the world of the theatre. Here we see last year's champion playing the lead in Beckett's Waiting for Fido. While in the world of music, here we see Spaniel Ballet recording their new single, Hound Dog.
On Thursday, it's Edwina Curry came forward with her advice to young people on what to do on holiday this year, or rather what not to do. So just what is there to look forward to on an Edwina Curry holiday? What do you get when you go Club Ed?
With Club Ed, the fun begins the moment you arrive at your sun-kissed resort. And on this holiday, your resort's the only thing that will get kissed. You'll be meeting hundreds of young people of your own age, and all with just one thing in mind. But forget it. You've no chance. The only thing you're going to get your hands on is another hand. Mind you, with hundreds to choose from, you can look forward to lots of one-night hands. Spend your days lying with the girls on the beach, and your nights lying to the girls in the disco. And if dancing's not your bag, then every night there's lots of fun and games. And every game has the Edwina Curry nookie-free seal of approval. Games like Patience, Fruitless Pursuit, and from TV, Celibacy Squares. Finally, a Club Ed word to husbands. Remember, having a wife away with you on that foreign trip abroad is always safer than having it away with a foreign broad on that trip without the wife.
And my favourite news item was that Princess Diana brought tears to the eyes of the President of Portugal when she twanged his braces, shouting, "Rock on, Mario!" Paul Newman's back in the news with his new film, The Colour of Money, a sequel to his award-winning film, The Hustler. While he was here, controversy raged again over his height. Is he 5'6" or 6'2"? Maybe this film clip can give us a clue.
I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour. That's when my love comes tumbling down. I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour, when there's no one else around. I'm gonna take you, girl, and hold you.
Cost us a fortune to get Paul Newman for that. You get any Valentines this year?
I got 3 Valentines.
Yeah?
How many did you get?
Well, not quite as many as that, to be honest. I've never had 3 Valentines in my whole life.
Really?
What have you got for us this week?
I'm gonna do a song. I gotta explain something about it, though, but I'll do that when I get over to the microphone.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Loudon Wainwright III.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, here's the deal. My best friend in the whole world, in New York, where I live, which is my world, is a guy named George, and he's married to a woman named Susan. And I wrote this song that I'm going to do for you all now for George and Susan. And they come and see me play it when I play in New York, and it's great. But they're not here. They're in New York. So I had this great idea. I picked 2 people from the studio audience. Can we see these kids over here? There they are. They look happy, don't they? They're going to pretend to be George and Susan. Great idea, huh? It's an okay idea. But here it goes. Oh, yeah, and another thing is 8th Avenue in New York is kind of like the Soho district here in London. Don't be nervous. I don't think that your wife likes me. I don't think that your wife likes me. Why do you suppose that is? I don't know. Maybe it's because we go drinking together. Yeah, maybe it's because you and I go drinking together, George, right? And on occasion, we're taking it off Broadway. Sha-la-la. Or maybe it's because I'm famous. Yeah. maybe Susan's just a little bit jealous. Or maybe it's because I was married and now I'm divorced. I'm available, folks. On the telephone, she sounds so hostile. On the telephone, she sounds so hostile to me. And when I see her, whew, that smile she flashes me, it's kind of forced. Check it out. Anyway, I don't think that your wife likes me. I don't think that your wife likes me. I'm famous and she's jealous. And she probably thinks I'm full of crap. Pretty good, Sue. I don't think that your wife trusts me. I don't think that your wife trusts you. She thinks I'll take you out to 8th Avenue to catch the clap your hands. I don't think that your wife likes me. I don't care. I don't think that your wife likes me. I detest your wife. Why do you suppose that that is? I don't know.
Thank you, Loudon. A truly groin-felt experience. Thank you, and the audience too. Well, of course, the sporting news of the week was my victory with Tony Jacklin in pro celebrity golf. You didn't see it, did you? Yeah. Thank you for your support. As a golfer, I make a pretty good comedian. I said to Tony Jacklin, I said, what am I doing wrong? He said, you're standing too close to the ball after you've hit it. Thank you. I took up golf mainly because squash was getting beyond a joke. At the squash club I was at, they'd just installed in the changing rooms an iron lung. Thought time to take it easy. Besides which, it was getting that after a heavy game of squash, I couldn't stop panting and puffing for 3 days. I was almost done twice for making obscene phone calls. The pro celebrity sports are catching on, aren't they? Pro celebrity snooker, darts, bowls. I'm waiting for pro celebrity boxing. Frank Bruno against Russell Grant. I mean, Russell might predict Frank's going to throw a right, but there's not all he can do about it. He'd be seeing stars after that one, wouldn't he? Do you remember that sporting programme Superstars? Do you remember? Where they would take the world's greatest sportsmen and make them look like real dickheads. You'd get Jeff Capes playing ping pong. Right, or Kevin Keegan doing the 3-mile breaststroke trying to get back into his canoe. I always enjoyed the gymnasium part, me. The squat thrusts were unbelievable. Bronze, muscular athletes trying to imitate a copulating male rabbit. Then you had David Vine and Ron Pickering heaping thinly disguised abuse on them. The picture was complete. I mean, if those two like humiliating people that much, why don't they work behind the counter at the DHSS? Somebody's been there. Thank you. Why do we play sport? Well, it's to keep fit, which is a survival instinct, stemming from when man had to hunt and stalk his food and fight off predators and other humans who would try and steal his kill. It's a bit like Sainsbury's. Our ancestors ran because they had no choice, not because they enjoyed it. You don't think they'd bother chasing and bringing down a mammoth if they could run it over in a Renault 5. Fitness was survival, and they didn't need Jane Fonda records and bowlfuls of muesli to do it either. Aerobics and designer vomit came later. I like that one. As the years rolled on, sport began to get organised. In the 17th century, there was a government post entitled Master of the King's Bulls, Bears and Mastiff Baiting. It doesn't change at all, does it? Rugby was introduced in 1823 at the school of the same name, when, during a game of soccer, a boy called William Ellis suddenly picked up the ball and ran with it. When he got to the post, he said to the referee, "What shall I do with it now, sir?" Which explains why the rugby ball is such a peculiar shape. Sport on TV doesn't get any better, does it? Snooker never seems to be off the air. Why don't they give it its own channel and be done with it? I'm fed up with switching sides and seeing Steve Davis's bum staring at me. Darts probably gets even more coverage. It's easy to knock darts players, but it has to be said they're brilliant mathematicians, providing it's subtraction. Lazarenko, what's 501 minus 287? 214. Correct. Okay, what's 6 plus 2? 180? Guessing. And if snooker and darts drive you around the bend, there's something even worse in store. Speed chess. Speed chess? What they're going to be on, Horlicks? And the final irony is that we'll have to watch it in black and white. I said that wouldn't get a laugh. We'll have him sacked. Have you ever caught a glimpse of Australian rules football? There are no rules. There's 12 referees and no rules. I haven't the faintest idea what's going on. It's the same with American football. I mean, we watch it, but it's just lots of people running aimlessly about, mouthing off at each other. Talk about confusing. I have to check with the Radio Times to make sure I'm not watching Howard's Way. American football is so specialist that one player in the team gets paid thousands of dollars and may only get to kick the ball once in a game. Mind you, we've got soccer teams here with 12 of those. And how is our national game faring against the competition? Well, I saw a headline the other week that said, Glenn Hoddle finds God. I thought, blimey, what a pass. But apparently he's been influenced towards religion because of his experience with faith healing, laying on of hands. Well, it worked for Maradona. What do you mean? Now, with all the sport on TV, it's obviously stimulated the public into taking part, which is all very well, but it does mean you're constantly pestered and bothered with those wretched forms. You know, you have to sponsor people for hundreds of pounds to do pointless and useless activities like walking backwards for 10 miles or a sponsored blink. People are getting desperate for new ideas for these things. A bloke came up to me the other week. It was a bit of a pain, and he wanted me to back his latest piece of nonsense, a sponsored curry-eating binge. £5 for every Vindaloo he ate. I thought, what an ideal opportunity to get rid of him. I gave him 200 quid and a box of matches. Talking about transport, if you're thinking about using the M1 motorway in the next few weeks, beware. Roadworks on the notorious Luton section have begun again, and the Department of Transport will be using a staggering 500,000 traffic cones. I decided to try and find out the reason. The ascent of mankind as a civilized species has been marked by three phenomena: religion, philosophy, and roadworks. Wherever man has laid his paths of communication, roadworks have followed. Even in biblical times, there was no escaping the problems of the contraflow system. This map shows the motorways of Britain. Now, let's see which of those motorways are currently under repair. All roadworks are marked by millions and millions of these. Traffic cones. How many times have you been sitting in a traffic jam thinking, oh, I would just love to? Of course, the reason why you can't do that is that every 100th traffic cone is booby-trapped. Why is it that a lane of a motorway can be coned off for miles and miles and miles, and yet there's absolutely nothing happening? There's a huge traffic jam because you've coned this lane off.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
But there's no roadworks going on here.
No.
So why have you coned off 5 miles of motorway for no reason?
Oh, sorry, mate. Can't tell you that. Top secret. Know what I mean?
He wouldn't answer the question, but this man will. A former employee of the Ministry of Transport, he insisted on absolute anonymity before he would talk.
Well, all I know is that, well, they have to use a certain amount of cones. It's regulations, you see. But there's an EEC cone mountain. British motorways, well, they have to take at least 400 million cones a year. France and Germany combined only have to take, like, 12 between them. You've noticed there they're always so close together.
So there you have it. The reason for all the roadworks is the European Cone Mountain. But the final word, waiting to talk to us in Brussels, is the EEC Commissioner for Roadworks, Monsieur Claude Lemerde. Well, Commissioner, what can Britain expect in the future from our friends in the common market?
Bola.
Merci, monsieur. And finally, to leave you tonight, we go over live to Mark Thatcher's honeymoon hotel, where our outside broadcast camera is on the spot, and the news is that there are some very strange goings-on.
Diane, darling, are you ready?
I think you've got a wrong room card.
Oh, sorry. Ah, darling. I say, I'm most terribly sorry, Madam Sin. I don't care whether you're ready or not, dearest. I've come to claim my conjugals.
Oh, come in, big boy.
Oh, I'm most terribly sorry. I'm looking for my wife.
For God's sake, she's in room 231.
2, 3.
Sorry.